Donald.
With that, let us bring in Joe Borelli, Republican, New York City Councilman. Joe, your reaction to the results last night?
Look, I think it was ultimately a good day for a couple of people. Ron DeSantis, Donald Trump, their endorsees at the federal and local levels all won. I think here in New York, we saw some of the socialist-aligned candidates take a back seat and take a loss. I think people were following the New York 19 race with Sean Patrick Maloney versus Allison Biaggi. The national audience might not know, Alessandra Biaggi was one of the architects of our bail reform law. She is, by all accounts, a socialist who is, in my opinion, very bad for the state. So the taxpayers might have won in that respect.
One of the key bellwether races was a special election that took place in the Hudson Valley between Democrat Pat Ryan and Republican Mark Molinaro. We're talking about New York right now. Republicans really thought that they could flip this seat, and the Democrat wound up winning. And Politico paints it this way, saying Trump's candidates are still chalking up wins, but the headwinds facing Democrats appear to have eased. A New York special election seen as the last best test for the electorate's midterms. Leaning confirmed that Democrats' hopes and Republicans' feared predictions of a red wave may be overblown. So that does raise the question, are Republicans overconfident going into the midterm elections?
It pains me to say this, but I think so. In this particular race, we had a marquee candidate. This is someone who ran for governor. He's well liked in the Republican Party. He's well liked in the region. And this is a district that's suburban primarily and rural. So this is where Republicans in this state and frankly around the country are trying to pick up some momentum. It was clear that the issues of inflation, the issues of crime in New York State motivated Republicans, but not in the same way that the issue of abortion actually motivated a lot of Democrats from this area.
So what does that mean nationwide?
I think Republicans have to really look at themselves and take a gut check and make sure they're focusing their efforts on motivating voters to actually turn out in November.
Do you think that Republicans need to force the issue when it comes to Democrats co-opting the Republican message on certain things and then driving the ball over the goal line with abortion, which seems to be what's happening?
Look, I think if someone is a strong pro-choice voter, they might be a single-issue voter, there might not be a chance to necessarily switch them over. I think these races are going to be about turnout in the suburbs. I think we have to make sure we have found the right candidates, though in most cases it's too late to change at this point. But if we don't have the right candidate with the right message, with the right angry base who don't like the one-party state in New York, I think we're going to be in trouble.
Yeah. Fox News Power Ranking still has Republicans winning in the House and also likely winning in the Senate, but the margins of error are certainly closing. Let's turn to this. There's a recent New York Times report that details what Mayor Eric Adams does in his free time, and the guy likes to party. Talks about him going to fancy restaurants and nightclubs, meeting with swanky people, and there are very little indications that he is paying for these things. The Times says that raises ethical questions, and Eric Adams recently responded to this report. Take a listen to what he said.
I owe no one a receipt of a private dinner that I have with people in this city, and I'm not going to start being treated differently, and I won't accept that. That was a silly story. You know it was a silly story. Front page of the New York Times? Come on.
Joe, is it a silly story?
No, he's wrong on the law there. I mean, we have ethics laws in this state, as do most states, where people can't just pay for your meals on a regular basis, and you do have to follow those rules. I have to follow those rules. Everyone in elective office has to follow those rules. That said, the last mayor, Mayor de Blasio, was criticized for never going out and never enjoying New York. And I think coming out of the pandemic, the mayor of this city should be occasionally at restaurants, should be at doing some nightlife things, but going to swanky places every single night is not the same as taking your picture at the Cyclone in the opening season of the opening days of the Coney Island season. I mean, this is not the best look when you have issues with police officers getting injured, with crime on the rise, with people really hurting under inflation.
Yeah, it obscures the real issues that are going on in this administration, which is we thought things would be improving crime-wise by now, and they haven't. They're actually getting worse. Before we let you go, I want to get your thoughts on this. 2 children drown, a baby clinging to life after attempting to cross the Rio Grande into the U.S. as Texas continues to send migrants by bus here to New York City. Look, the left always says we need to be compassionate when it comes to these migrants. Where's the compassion of the Democrats and Joe Biden encouraging people to take a journey where they die?
Look, so the migrants coming to New York, now we have a price tag on that, $300 million it's costing New York City. So Democrats are finally acknowledging that there's a dollar amount cost to illegal immigration. I hope they start realizing, as you point out, that there is a human life cost also to illegal immigration, and that building a border wall and actually enforcing the laws on our border might be a worthwhile expedition.
Yeah, really quickly, before we let you go, Mayor Eric Adams is admitting that the few hundred people that have come have been bused to to New York from Texas are a crisis. He's also rolling out the red carpet for them. Free hotel rooms, cell phone. Why cell phones? And there's a New York Post analysis of this saying that the housing alone could cost taxpayers $300 million. Is that how our taxpayer money should be spent?
No, and it shouldn't. These aren't people who are coming here by accident. These are people coming here because the Democratic Party is both encouraging them and allowing them to come here. I'm somewhat glad, even though I'm one of the people going to pay for this, I'm somewhat glad Governor Abbott is doing this to actually raise awareness amongst blue state people that there is a significant cost to illegal immigration.
Yeah, we'll see if that significant cost changes anything politically. Joe, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, guys.
Joe.
Appreciate it.